Cadillac Ranch. I'm afraid sometimes it might encourage people to graffiti more too, but that's not a popular opinion, so I can't say that, you know.
I was there, and you read the Cadillac Ranch, the graffiti there, and people were showing up with cans. I think they very much encouraged it. It seemed like the graffiti was like as thick as this cushion.
Yeah, well, Bob Lyle in Amarillo takes the chunks and turns them into jewelry. You get that's like a quarter, half-inch thick, and how many hundreds of layers of colors. Then he'll sand it and polish it and cut through all those layers until you get concentric rings and starbursts and clears it. It's beautiful. It was called Fordite originally because it came from the Ford plant in Dearborn, but his is Cadillac because he gets them from Cadillac Ranch.
I got one thing here. Joey's going to, my guy would, I'm probably going to have to angle this. The thing I can't have is any of the light showing up in here. There's a challenge where you have like glass.
I can, the reflections.
The art. The plastic on the art is where the challenge is, but I've kind of learned to kind of move. This will add some light, but
sure,
I won't have it.
Sure. Back in the old days, so I had to photograph something behind glass, I'd use crossed polarizers, you know, polarizer film on the light and the polarizer on the camera, but can't do that now because I need circular polarizers.
I wonder if actually it might be your lights.
Possibly.
Well, I think that, because maybe where I have you.
Move me around till it looks a little better.
Slide over about a foot there. Let's see.
You know, I don't think you'll ever get rid of all the glare on here. This is a glare factory, but.
Yeah. Okay, just move over about 6 inches, about half of where you went. You went a little bit more. Yeah, actually, that's looking good because that's where the glare was right behind you. So.
Block it, my big head.
And then actually it's got some great stuff behind you too, the artwork there.
I take a lot of pictures of people against this wall.
Yeah, that's working. Okay, so go ahead and give me your name and just occupations. I'm not sure which to call you, author, artist.
It's the whole thing, yeah. Ready?
Yes.
My name's Jerry McClanahan, and I guess you could call me a Route 66 author, artist, historian, just whatever. If it's Route 66, I'm in for it.
And tell us about, you've written several books. Describe each one a little bit.
Okay, I'm best known for the Easy 66 Guide for Travelers, a little spiral-bound book with over 200 maps and directions on how to drive Route 66, east and westbound, and then attractions, motels, gas stations, museums, optional trips. There's dirt road sections, there's dead ends, there's side trips. It's just basically a book on how to enjoy and discover Route 66 for yourself.
Well, you really drilled down because you have these side trips in there.
Yes.
Where did your passion come to know about all these really interesting little side trips?
Well, my Route 66 passion started actually back in '59, our first Route 66 trip from California back through Oklahoma City when I was just a kid. Then almost every year in the 60s we'd hit it during summer vacation. And Dad was the type to drive straight through without stopping, and I saw all this wonderful stuff. The billboards, the neon signs, the cowboys and the Indians, the giant rattlesnakes, the see the live buffalo, and Dad just wouldn't stop. So that stuck in my head. 1981, I had my dad and we drove out to California from Texas. And I made him stop at everything this time. We stopped at Klein's Corners, we stopped at Meteor Crater, we stopped at Grand Canyon Caverns. And back in '69, we were going to stop there on our last Route 66 trip while we lived in California. We pulled into the restaurant and found out the cavern was 1 mile off of 66. And he would not drive that 1 mile off the road to go see that cavern. We would have spent an hour or two down in there if it had been right on 66. But it was pulling teeth to get him to go 1 mile off. So that's where I became interested in 66. But on that trip with Dad, there was frustration. We kept hitting dead ends, and he didn't like that. And I'd ask him, well, was this road 66? You could see the power lines running along the telephone poles. And he didn't know. I didn't know. So we got back, I started looking at old gas station maps and county maps and trying to find all these. And the more I dug, the more I found. I did trips in 83 and 86 and 88, trying to find as much of it as I could. I started out just wanting to photograph it, but then I started doing artwork based on it. And I had all this material where I mapped it, and I started writing articles about the old alignments. Well, like I rediscovered the Jericho Gap in Texas that people had claimed had been abandoned and paved over and was no longer there. And I found many, many miles of it you could still drive today. In fact, the little town of Jericho, some people recently bought it and are cleaning it up and kind of renovating it. So all of this, the photography, the mapping, the artwork, just kind of all comes together. And I wrote dozens of articles on abandoned sections of Route 66 in the 90s for a couple of different magazines. And I did a set of maps with my friend Jim Ross from Arcadia, Oklahoma. We started out those in 94, one map for each state, even Kansas, which only has 13 miles. We gave it its own map. Well, I guess it's too late to shut the door because it'd change your lighting.
No, that'd
be
fine, I think. We can do that.
Traffic's picked up.
Yes, it has.
Now your sound's going to sound different.
Well,
I should actually say, now that we shut the door, we can talk better.
yeah, I think you can.
I think I'll do that. Okay, tell me if you're ready.